What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and we are talking about the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender. I had initially started. I'm not good at reviewing stuff, so I'll never have like I don't want to say never. I'll likely never have a dedicated video to where I review something, give it a score, write out like a script and stuff, because none of my videos are scripted. I just kind of roll off the top of the dome of my thoughts, and for better or worse. Hopefully you guys like that style. Just not a big fan of talking and then having something playing over my talk. I'm not a big fan of that, but it works for a lot of other people. But I just like kind of just rambling. So I appreciate you guys being here. But my initial plan was to record a video for the first 4 episodes, and then record a video for or record myself on the first 4 episodes, and then record myself on the last few episodes. Still make it into one video and then give my overall thoughts. I did that already for the first four, but I'm just going to talk about everything here, just as I remember it. So I think the show's great. I think there's a lot of people online that with any sort of adaptation, and that's the key word, adaptation. It's not a one for one remake of the show, and all these adaptations are not that. They're always going to put some sort of spin off of it, for better or for worse. They're going to add in scenes and that weren't in the original anime. It's going to be different, and I think that's okay. I don't think, kind of like music. I mean, you got your favorite band, and then, one year they put out a mediocre album, or maybe an album where they're experimenting with their music or something like that, and you don't care for it. That doesn't like make you hate the band or anything, or it dismisses all the great music they had previously that you love. You could still go back and listen to that stuff, just like you can with the Avatar series. You can go back and watch it, and like I've done 4 or 5 times in the last couple years. Like I love that show, and I can kind of the same thing with, you can separate the art from the artist. I think you can separate, the live action versus the anime, and really that with anything. And I think this is one of the better adaptations that we've seen recently. Um, yeah, I can just appreciate something for what it is, because it's never gonna be the original. It's never gonna be better than the anime. In my opinion, it's very hard for something to be better than kind of the source material, right? Like that's the best part. Especially when you go into live action, right? Obviously, when we have an anime, and you have a manga, and you create the anime based off of it. Those are usually pretty close. You got to nail the voices and stuff like that. And obviously, like, the animation itself has got to be spot on. Um, but with live action, it's a little bit different, because this is your favorite characters on the big screen, and when it doesn't go the exact way that you want, it's like, oh, this sucks. And I've seen a lot of people nitpicking it online, and while I agree with some of the stuff, most of the stuff I feel like, damn, can't you just enjoy it for what it is? It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be necessarily better. It's just a different version, a different telling of the same story, more or less. But I want to go through. I want to go through it at least and talk about it. Um, as someone who's seen the anime plenty of times, the story does feel a little bit rushed. I mean, and we could have all seen that coming, a mile away, whenever they announced it's going to be 8 episodes, right? I mean, there's a lot to pack in eight episodes. Granted, they usually have a 40 to an hour time spot, where the anime had, what, 23, 24 minutes with commercials back in the day. So kind of 2 episodes crammed into one, essentially. Um, but some of the way they did that was a little bit weird. Like, we got the whole, so we'll talk about it. So we'll skip the kind of the intro and the weird scene where Gran is literally reiterating the the monologue of the TV series. Like, that felt so out of place and just so unnecessary. Like, oh, you're really gonna say the whole uh model. It was very awkward. Very, very awkward. But we got a whole episode with, like, the Kyoshi Warriors, right? And a lot of people coming up to the show were talking about how, Sokka was, they took out the kind of the sexist behavior he had, the sexism he had, and I know 2024 is a different time period, but damn, it's called character growth. It's a good thing to have. You have a character that's, oh, he's got not so good behavior, and then he spends time with this with Suki, and realizes that, hey, she's a really good fighter, and she just happens to be a woman that has nothing, that has nothing to do with her skills as a fighter, and he realizes that, and it's part of its growth, and that's a good thing. So they took that out, or they had like one scene where he kind of like nonchalantly mentioned, kind of said something, but it wasn't like the anime where he's like, yeah, you're a girl, you can't be a fighter, blah blah blah. But then turn around in the, when they get to the northern water tribe, and I am blanking on Master Paku. He says, women can't fight. This is our way. He does it, I think, a little bit better. That it's not, maybe not necessarily sexist, but that's just kind of their way. That's how their tribe works. So their women don't fight. I feel like in the anime he was way more sexist than he was in this. Um, and I'm gonna get off this. I'm gonna get off this topic here in a second. But they left that in there, but they took out the kind of the Sokka moment, which I felt was a little bit more important. So a little bit of weird decision making there. Throughout the whole show, you can kind of tell why the main, the creators of the show did leave. But I thought the live action did some really cool things. Like we got, the kind of the back scene to the Fire Nation attacking the Southern Air Temple, and attacked on the night that Aang left. Like that makes a lot of sense. But then we know uh Kyatso dies, and then it kind of takes away that moment when Aang discovers his body, and then also like Katara is trying to bring him out of the Avatar state, and that part felt very rushed because it's like y'all just met like 20 hours ago, and here you're trying to console him, and they don't even know each other at this point. And then they cram a lot of stuff in with Omashu. They've got uh they introduced Jet, and I'm blanking on the father and son that create the hot air balloon. But they cram all that into there, and then on top of that, you've got oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking. Boomy, King Boomy. They introduced him in there within like 2 episodes. It felt very rushed, but it felt rushed because I had seen the anime. As someone who's probably seen only saw the live action, it probably felt fine. And then they had the spirit episode where the spirit of the forest is mad, but then they have like the encounter with it, but that's not even the main kind of villain of the episode. It's the face stealer pose. So it's like they're bringing in these really interesting characters, but they're bringing them in at a different time than they were in the anime. So it's a little bit weird, but I think it works for the live action. And then getting towards like the end of it, right? It's weird that Aang didn't waterbend at all. He didn't really learn with Katara, or at least they didn't show it. Now they could, assuming there's going to be a season two, they could just say, hey, all right, Aang, you've got to learn earthbending these last, I don't know, days or weeks or whatever it is. Because I know there's a time frame for Sozin's comment, so they can't just say, oh, it's been a year. It's like, no, it's coming up pretty soon. But um, oh, you've trained outside of the screen, and learned and mastered waterbending. They could do it that way. I think that's kind of cheap, but that's the way they're gonna have to do it if they don't show it on screen. So it'd be kind of weird for him to learn water and earth at the same time, but I guess they can do it. I don't know. Um, the thing that I really really loved about the show was Iroh and Zuko's relationship. You could tell in the anime up until this point, but you can tell that Iroh loves Zuko so much, and vice versa. I mean, it was such a cool, and the scene, man, when the backstory of Iroh's son passing away, and Zuko gives him that coin, or whatever it is, and was it Leaves on the Wind is or Leaves on the Vine is playing in the background, like subtly, and you're like, oh my god, like it gave me goosebumps, and I was very very teary eyed in that moment. So yeah, I just think they nailed. I think they nailed Iroh's casting. I think they nailed, for the most part, most of the casting. Like, I really like their casting choices. Like, Aang feels like Aang, Katara feels like Katara, Sokka feels like Sokka. He's kind of a smart ass. The only thing that was weird was Yue. I think her hair wig was clearly a wig, and that kind of threw me off whenever she was in the scene. But other than that, I thought all the casting was, and I think she did a good job as Yue. Just the wig was a little weird. Um, but yeah, Iroh and Zuko's relationship was awesome to see. And all the backstory that they had, the backstory, showing off the fight between Ozai and Zuko and stuff like that, and Azula, all that stuff was awesome to see. And then the 41st, I don't know, cavalry or whatever Zuko was assigned on his boat, like, he knew that it was wrong to sacrifice them, and the entire time, they're saying, oh yeah, Zuko doesn't care about us, he only cares about himself. And then Iroh explains, and like, no, you guys are alive because of Zuko. Like, that was such a cool backstory that we didn't get in the anime at all. So there's little things like that I've really enjoyed about the live action. And again, to wrap up this video, because I know it's getting a little bit long, I think it's great. I think it's a great adaptation. And again, it's an adaptation. It's not going to be one for one. There's stuff that the live action does better. There's stuff that the anime obviously does way better. And they can both. I think they can both coexist and be just fine. You still have the anime if you don't like the live action, and vice versa, I guess. Yeah, I don't see who wouldn't like the anime, but if you don't like the live action, you still got the anime to go back to, right? It's way better than the 2010 Avatar movie. That movie was hot garbage, and this is I think is really good, and could potentially get better and better as the seasons go on and the actors get more comfortable, and the writers, get more comfortable and stuff like that. So I think the show has great potential, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But highly recommend, if you're an Avatar fan, check it out. Don't listen to the people online, because again, I think they're just nitpicking the show at this point. And sometimes it's fine to just enjoy the show, right? Just enjoy some things and not have to worry about, oh, they didn't match up. This line wasn't the exact line they said in the show, and this story was, not the same exact story it was, and this side character wasn't the same. Like, it's okay. Hey, at least they brought back the cabbage guy, right? So, all right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap up my thoughts of the live action show. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? I wanna hear from you guys. Assuming you guys are Avatar fans. I know this is a little bit different than my usual gaming content, but I like to talk about everything on this channel: games, movies, all that good stuff. So, all right, guys. Well, I will see you in the next video. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll let YouTube algorithm pick one of my videos below for you guys to watch. Give it a click, and I hope you enjoy. And I will see you in the next video.